Strange Adventure.
Thousands of thrill-seeking spectators jammed the gates that led into the gaily decorated Indianapolis Speedway. For this was to be the highlight of the racing season, and the finest cars, the most daring drivers, were out to compete in the spectacular 500-mile Memorial Day Classic. And now the brothers of the banked oval were gathered in the dressing room, waiting their turn to go to the pits, where their high-powered racers were being gassed and checked. All the men looked up as a tall, middle-aged man stepped into the room carrying under his arm a large black cat. One of the veterans of the Speedway snorted,
Here comes Bob Roberts with his cat. Black Devil will be his death someday in spite of his reverse superstitions.
Robert smiled at his friends as he set his mascot down upon the dressing bench.
Well, boys, I just had a long talk with Midnight here, and he told me I was going to win again this year, just like I did last May, so you boys might as well take it easy.
One of the young drivers looked at the man who had made the statement, then at the cat.
Mr. Roberts, I thought black cats were supposed to be unlucky.
Oh, not for me, son. Just before the race last year, a black cat crossed my path, and I won the race by a good 4 miles. Then I went back to California, and a friend of mine gave me this cat for luck. Yeah, Midnight's brought me luck ever since. I'm going to let him watch the race today. He ought to get a kick out of the race. He's going to help me win.
Len Sutton, the old driver, picked up his driving helmet and turned toward the door.
Listen, Roberts. If you want to believe that cat is lucky, more power to you. But keep that black devil away from us, will you?
Roberts followed the other drivers to the pits, still carrying his lucky mascot. He pushed his powerful yellow racer out to the starting line. The crowd cheered as the daredevil drivers roared away in the race that would bring fortune and fleeting fame to one of them, failure and possible death to others. The race was exciting and heated. Car after car flashed into the lead. But when the Classic was half over, Roberts was still among the front runners. In the 100th lap, Roberts made his bid for the lead and sped past 4 cars on the straightaway. He banked his car to take the southeast turn, known to the drivers as Dead Man's Curve. A look of terror crossed his face as he looked ahead. Directly in his path, a car whizzed into a dizzy spin and stalled. Unless he could swerve out of the way, a crash was inevitable. Roberts raced toward the spinning car, then swerved to avoid a crash. He lost control and his racer hurtled through the guardrail. Then Chuck Miller's car came crashing into the pileup as the horrified spectators let out a yell of terror. When the ambulance arrived at the scene and Roberts was lifted out of the tangled mass of wreckage, life was fast ebbing from the man who was so sure of winning. And sitting peacefully on the broken rail was Midnight, the Jinx of the Speedway, whose faculty for bringing fortune to his owner had brought death instead. This is Pat McGeehan in Hollywood, California, saying goodbye from my writer Charles Crowder and inviting you to listen again to another tale of
Strange Adventure.